Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Isham Kurniawan. In this time, I want to make a video presentation about how to do a good presentation. The tips is impressive opening presentation. The main way of presenting a good and true is to open the presentation inversely. The first impression is an important thing. So, in delivering a presentation, you must make a good and impressive impression. The second is increase confidence. The next good and correct way of presenting is to increase self-confidence. One of the reasons why presentations fail is not believing that you can deliver. Embarrassment and nervousness are usually experienced by someone when they have to make a presentation. So convince yourself that you can speak in front of a crowd. By looking confident, the audience will feel confident in yourself as a speaker. Next, the third tips is show enthusiasm, joy, and happiness. The next good and correct way of presenting is to show a sense of enthusiasm, joy, and happiness. When the presentation has been well prepared, what needs to be done next is to deliver the presentation with enthusiasm, not sluggish, not lazy, and so on. Whatever conditions are experienced, as much as possible, are not shown in front of the audience. The fourth tips is frequent practice and simulation. The next good and correct way of presenting is often practicing and simulating. Practice and do simulations often to get used to public speaking. How to practice that can be done is to first practice independently speaking in front of mirror. From there you know facial expressions and manners when speaking, understand how the intonation and strength of the voice should be delivered. The five tips is enthusiasm. The next good and correct way of presentation is enthusiasm. The conditions experienced during the presentation certainly cannot be avoided. The possibility of an atmosphere that is not desired will make the mood carried away. Continue to show enthusiasm whatever conditions you are currently experiencing during the presentation. Next, the sixth tips is avoid talking at slides. The next good and correct way of presenting is to avoid talking with slides. Often the speaker is too focused on the contents of the slides from the presentation, so that without realizing it, the presentation that was delivered only read the slides. Use slides only as a tool to explain presentation points. The rest you have the love to develop or the presentation material orally. The seventh tips is master the presentation material. The next good and correct way of presentation is mastering in the presentation material. Another key to success in is having to master the presentation material that will be delivered so that when the link with the audience, the material presented looks flowing. The eighth tips is sense of humor. The next good and correct way of presentation is a sense of humor. Humor when delivering a presentation is used to break the silence and awkwardness during a presentation. The humor used should not be too long and only used as an icebreaker and break the atmosphere. Next, the nine tips is not long winded. How to present a good and correct next is noteworthy. Deliver presentation materials clearly and directly to problems and solutions. The goal is to reduce boredom in the audience and make the audience satisfied and continue to listen to your presentation. The last tips is make eye contact. Eye contact is very important to establish a more intense relationship with the audience. When the presentation is done in front of a small audience, this eye contact process will be easier to do. But don't worry if you have to deliver a presentation in front of dozens, even hundreds of audience. Eye contact can still be made, and all you have to do is direct your gaze and the audience that is considered to represent the corners where they sit. Yes. Thank you. Uh, Thank you for your watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.